Welcome to Lifestyle in Calgary, and my name is David, and this is the podcast. And on today's episode, we have Ifani right here, and we have Ikechukwu. So these are our neighbors here in Calgary, and we came together to talk about why we left Nigeria. So, gentlemen, Ifani, could you tell us how you started and what made you leave Nigeria?
Um, First of all, me fine, just like you said. I left Nigeria 2024, right? How I left, it wasn't planned because beginning of the year, I never saw myself leaving Nigeria, and everybody plans their year in January. I was like, let's see how the year runs, and then it was the era of going to the UK. Everybody's moving to the UK, school and all that. And my wife was of that train. And personally, I wasn't interested. And I was like, let me allow her do her thing. And if it works out, I might key in. But then, along the way, she got admission. And they told me to bring £25,000. £25,000. I was like,
Yeah.
I told her, I don't have this money. And there's no way I can get this money. And I wasn't 100% comfortable in Nigeria, but I was okay to an extent. But then looking for a better life is not something anybody would shy away from. So I said, okay, let me talk to my brother who has been to the UK and moved to Canada. So I told him, he was like, don't go there. Oh. Don't go. It's not a wise decision for you to just, gather £25,000 from wherever and go somewhere, start all over, and you're not sure of what life would be like in terms of your immigration status. It's not laid down in a way that in 3 years or 4 years, you would become a citizen or you become this or that. So since he's been there, it was like, don't go, just give Canada a try. First of all, go and write your IELTS and evaluate your degree. I that gave me a little boost. I was like, okay. So, but then I was still laid back. My wife was the one that, let's go. She wrote her IELTS. She passed. It was my turn. I was reluctant. So I did write the IELTS and evaluated my degree. And I entered the pool. Around, let's say, March or April. I'm not sure then. 2 weeks later, I got notification from Alberta that I've been nominated for provincial nomination. So I did the whole application. That was when I started getting serious with the thing. I'm like, oh, this thing is serious. So asking why did I relocate, I never thought of relocating. So it was a on the move kind of decision. And right now, I'm a year here, and looking back, I won't say I regretted that move. But if it was planned, no, it was on the go. So if you want me to continue the immigration story, I could continue from the point of getting provincial nomination. But that was between January and March, April. I got that nomination and I applied, did the application. It took about 3 or 4 months for Alberta to do their own application process, and they gave me the confirmation, and I got my 600 points. Then I think August 1, I got ITA. And by this time, I was already excited. Oh, so I'm going to travel. I'm going to, my wife, I don't even want to talk about the kind of emotions going on. In fact, she has already packed her bags. She has dreamt of the kind of house and all those things. But me, I was still, laid back because bulk of the financial decision still falls on me. So there's still a little bit of, thoughts, considerations and all. So
Why did we even leave? Can I even remember? I think one of the main reasons why we left wasn't because of the mass exodus that was happening. In fact, when we started in 2019, I can't even say that there was mass exodus. But for me, it was all about the opportunity, to explore the world. And there were a lot of other options that we kind of did our research on. UK was one of them. Canada was also there. But Canada had the shortest route
To PR.
to PR and the shortest route to citizenship. It's just 3 years, right? So I'm like, Okay, UK. I've been to the UK. Lived in the UK when I was doing my masters 10 years ago. But I'm like, Canada is a top country. That okay, I wouldn't mind going to Canada. So that was when we agreed to come to Canada. And apart from that, the main reason was just opportunity to be able to explore the world. I don't believe in just living in a state in Nigeria and just everything you're doing just revolves in one place, right? But I wanted to be in a position where I would have the opportunity to work in North America, to work in Europe. Asia is also one continent that I would like to explore.
Saudi Aramco.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia. I love because I love meeting people. I love exploring people's culture. There is a lot more to the world than just living in your comfort zone back home. So that was actually the main reason why we made that decision, my wife and I, to bring our family to Canada. And our journey started in 2019. I think I took my IELTS, passed it. The first city my wife took hers, passed. We did the evaluation. And between August and December, I think our ITA came out. And by December, we did our medical.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're expecting to get after medical. I think after medical, the next one is the PPR, the passport request, by January, February, and lo and behold, COVID, the same COVID hit. Yeah,
You guys that moved that did your application
Yeah.
during COVID, right? I can't imagine the wait time.
It was terrible because I wasn't working as at then. I was just running my business. So, but I've stopped acquiring stuff back home. I was just in the mood of
You're traveling.
I'm traveling. So I wasn't. I was still doing my business, but I was still taking it serious. But my mind was somewhere else. So by February there was lockdown. You know, Canada locked their borders. Everything that you talked about, the GCMS note. We did all those things. Then I think in October 2020, thereabout, they asked us to do another medical or 2021. I can't remember.
The first medical expired.
Yeah. So the first medical expired, but meanwhile, we had already made that decision to come. So, and what I asked my friend was, coming to Canada, what do I need to do to prepare? Because you don't want to come here to start getting information, that you would have gotten back home. So my wife in particular, she was told to write some of her licensing exams from back home. So for that profession, it was possible to do that.
Okay.
So they usually write, I think, three exams, but one must be in Canada. So she was so during COVID. So COVID was a blessing in a way for us because it gave her the opportunity to also write those two exams, and for me to also write a couple of exams for myself. So. But by 2022, I think April, they gave us the passport request, and by I think July, we were on our way straight down to Calgary. And choosing Calgary was easy, so it was either Calgary or Montreal because I have a lot of friends. No, not Montreal, Ontario.
Ontario, okay.
Yeah, Toronto to be specific. So I have a lot of friends in Toronto. So, but Calgary, because Calgary compared to Toronto, the lifestyle is quite affordable compared to.
True.
Now I can't say for sure, but as at then, it was an easy choice. Coming to a city where housing was a bit affordable compared to Ontario, and where the job market was also thriving.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason why we opted to come to Calgary, and we've been here 2 years plus, so it'll be 3 years in July.
Okay, that's cool. So
Almost there.
yeah, the that comparison always happened. Toronto versus Calgary. So we almost moved to Toronto. In fact, we booked our flights for Toronto. We meant to look for a place there, but then some considerations came in, like, what if you don't find a good job in some months? The money you have, how long would it sustain you in Toronto? right? But then Calgary is like also a metropolis, right? It's quite it's booming, it's growing also, and not as big as Toronto or the Montreal, so you get, but you could still find decent living, affordable cost of living. You know, the tax exactly
Oh,
is 5%,
Yeah,
unlike
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Toronto that you're paying
HST
14%,
and whatever you
HST
call them. Yeah.
and the likes, right? So like some odd jobs you had to take on when you first came in. Like, what were they about?
The first odd job I did was the very, very first one. I was in this group on Telegram, and someone was like, "If you need job, there's a job this evening." I was excited. The guy didn't give me the full detail. It was like, "Meet me so where in downtown." Nigerian guy. I got there. He said, "Oh, we're just gonna take some seats from the top floor down to the car, and we'll take it to another location." And that was it. And he said it was about $18 an hour. I was like, "Cool job." I I brought down we brought down those chairs, and we took it to the event center. Guess what? It wasn't just to do that. We were going to set up. You see, when they are doing concerts outside,
Yeah.
set up the tents and everything, and the stage, carrying those stuff that people stand on.
Yeah.
It takes like 3 guys to lift it. So, and they were about 45.
Wow.
So we set up, and you've started, you can't stop. Like, you
Yeah.
can't say I'm not doing
And
it.
as a Nigerian,
And
you're
it's-
thinking
and it's-
$18 per hour.
And it's dead in the night. Like, we
Yeah.
started around 7, and we finished around 5 a.m.
Oh.
So the guy calculated the money, paid us, like he even added extra 1 hour. So after the event, the guy called us that we should come out this month. I told him I'm not available, because I got back, like, they paid me cash. I got back, I was like, I'm not doing it. I can't do this job again. They called like 4 times. I told them, no, I'm not available. I got something else. Even though I didn't get any, then I later got a warehouse job. It's something, when there's availability, they call you, and that was a little bit easy because it's just unload and offload, and it wasn't something very heavy. But I think the low hanging fruit when it comes to jobs when you land here is basically warehouse and customer service. And for me, I bumped into warehouse first, and did it for a while, and to keep the bills running. And
Yep.
yeah.
So the whole idea of getting odd jobs is because everybody comes with a certain amount of proof of funds,
Yeah.
for the first 3 to 6 months, right? So the whole idea is to start earning as fast as you can, so that you don't dip your hands into your proof of funds, right? And what you find out that if you're lucky enough within your first few months, you get a job. People who came with a lot of proof of funds actually use their proof of funds to buy their first homes here in Canada. But the whole idea is just to start paying the bills. You don't want to convert naira to so whatever money you must have left home, you don't want to convert naira to card and pay your bills, because on the average, you have about 2,500 every other month. Depending on how many kids that you have, your rent, groceries and stuff like that. So for me, that was the whole mindset. Whatever that comes first, I do it while I continue pursuing what I was pursuing. So I did only one of the job that I did was concrete work. So the person I worked for, what we used to do is they get contracts to lay concrete, fresh concrete. Just to lay fresh concrete in basements and driveways, right? So we would actually just wait. Then a concrete mixer will bring the concrete for us. They dump it into a machine, and our job is just to use the concrete pipe just to lay the concrete. It's quite tedious because you need to be good with your hands. You have to be on your knees using trowels. Trying to walk on the concrete. It was quite tough. I think I did it for 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, I kind of told myself the truth that I'm not cut out for this kind of work. If it's something, this is the first time I've actually quit on any job. Because I have that mindset that whatever I accept to do, I just kind of have to do it to the end. So that was actually the first job that I've ever quit in my life, because I told myself the hard truth that this kind of job, it was quite physical. You know, my body wasn't kind of used to it. That it's better for me to get some other kind of odd job, let's say care support work or something. Yeah, and the thing is, you do that job, you come back. Sometimes you do 12 hours, you do 8 hours, you come back, and you have a bunch of um, emails waiting for you, and those emails are job applications that you have to do. So you come back by you do 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You come back home 6 7 p.m. You still need to do like 3 4 5 applications that night. And Canada, you can't use the same resume. You need to tweak your resume. So it takes about 30 minutes to an hour to tweak a resume, at least for me. So you still need. So by the time you're going to bed by 11 12 a.m. and the next morning you're up again. So like they said, you have to select your own hard.
Yeah.
You have to select your own hard.
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever odd job that anybody wants to do, you have to select what works for me. As for me, that didn't work for me. But I know people who have been doing that job for 3 years and counting, and it's something that they enjoy. So you really need to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Once you come into Canada.
What were like the realities, like versus expectations? When we were like planning to leave, come to Canada, we want the experience higher, come with your skills. Like I had an MBA from Unilag, right? I'm like, I have an MBA. My first degree is chemical engineering. If I go there, I'll see jobs. I'll be cherry picking. Like if I do this one small, I'll tell them no, pay me more money. I go. But then when you get here, it's different, right? There's that reality that you see that, in all fairness, or if we're being truthful, your foreign credentials or foreign experience does not really count to all or to some employers, right? And they don't say it really. That's why I see people telling you, you have to go and try and get Canadian experience. You have to, you see people going into school. You see people saying, I have this degree, I have this and that. But then you still end up trying to get something, even if it's a 6 month diploma here, right? So for me, those were the realities I had to face, because you'd see that they have their nuances, the way they talk, the way they want things to be done, right? So it's not like us in Nigeria that when you apply for a job, they look at your resume, they call you for an interview, right? They screen you, then you get to the interview, you prove yourself. Here, the biggest barrier is that CV or resume submitting stage.
I agree.
Where every time you come back home, you have like 7 emails waiting for you, and then you just scan it to look for where they put unfortunately. And then you're like, this one didn't work out. And then tomorrow you continue applying, and then next set of emails come. You just do this skimming or the scanning and look for the unfortunate, because you've gotten used to those emails. Yeah. And that's even good for those ones that respond to you and tell you, you're not qualified, or we're not picking you, or we've moved on from this application stage and so on. But some people still don't respond. You apply for a job and 5 months, you don't get any response from them. You're in limbo. You don't know why, right? So, because if you get feedback, be it positive or negative, it would help you shape up or look for what to do or where to improve or what not to put in your resume. So, because it's not there's no set standard for resume design and stuff like that. So everybody say, go do it like this, or do it like this, and then you realize that, man, I've done this method. I got those emails, right? I've done this method. I didn't even get any response. Then some you even get to an interview, and then they see your face.
Yeah. That the face factor is there. I've been to an interview, like they reached out to me themselves on Indeed. We saw your resume, we saw your profile, we like it and all that. They spoke to me over the phone. Then when I got there, they asked me, "Are you the guy?" I said, "Yeah." From their countenance, I know this wasn't what they were expecting. I don't know if my voice sounded different and my face looked different, and so. But that's when you talk about expectation in terms of job. Before I left Nigeria, I was looking at Indeed, because Indeed usually put the salaries. I was seeing jobs of 35K a year, And for me, I was like, oh, if I calculate 35K to Nigeria, and oh, it's big money. But I go here, that 5K a year is nothing. Like, you won't live a comfortable life. And that's my first expectation versus reality. So in my mind, I was like, worst case scenario, 50K a year. I'm just calculating that 50K to Naira. Forgetting that by the time they tax that money, you might be getting 35K at the end of the year. And that 35K is not even enough to run a home of 3 people comfortably.
Yeah, true.
So that was my first expectation versus reality. So immediately, I know, because I heard people talking about jobs of 120 a year, and that expectation versus reality changed. That was one. Then secondly, before I came, I was hearing, that there's lots of job in Canada in general, that you cherry pick, whatever. Like, people were saying, when I came, I was getting offers, I was deciding. But when I came here, come on. For me, I've worked in the HR space, so I understood how resumes, and so I was applying back to back, and the rejection mails were coming back to back, like. So there are jobs, but I think there's level to how you get this job. People with Canadian experience, Canadian education, then how much you can get your hands dirty. Referrals. Yeah. You understand? But if it's based on just your CV, your back home experience, you're just pouring water on rocks. So that expectation versus reality was there too. So, and I think those two, and again, the food. I was hoping I would see lots of different food, but guess what? I was eating as if I was still in Nigeria. Nothing changed in that aspect. So those are my expectations versus reality. Things I noticed at least within the first 6 months of coming.
Yeah, in Canada, reality hits you.
It hits you.
Hits you hard. Really, really hard. Really, really hard. So I think my first reality check here was with regards to transport, moving around. So as somebody who has lived in Birmingham in the UK for a year, been going to UK on and off. While in school in Birmingham, I didn't bother getting a car, right? Lots of my friends had cars, but I knew North America was different. I knew Canada, the US, they were quite different. You would need a car to move around, but I didn't know it was that bad. So I think my wife and kids were going to visit a friend, put the address on Google Map. So if we are driving, it was going to take 15, 20 minutes. But since we are going to go with a bus, 2 hours.
2 hours.
So
and that's one part of the journey.
Way, yeah. 2 hours going, but that friend was gracious enough to give us a ride back home. So at that point, I'm like, as somebody, I was like, nobody can survive doing this thing, right? So it means if you're going to work by 8 a.m. or you need to be at work at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., you need to leave like 2 hours prior. I'm like, this will not work for me. So we now went on to get a car within a week. Also, another reality check was driving, because you see the roads, they look good. There are signs everywhere, but driving here at the start is not easy.
It's not.
And driving from Nigeria, you've learned the worst part of driving, the worst kind of driving, because you're avoiding so many things. You're avoiding keke.
Yeah,
you're avoiding
everything. So
you're avoiding fellow drivers.
It was quite a different mentality here. So somebody who started like me, I started driving very early on. I think 15, 16. I've already started driving on the highway in Nigeria. So for here, my first week after I got my license, I just wasn't in the mood to drive. And we're trying to furnish our house. Getting stuff here and there. So for me, at that point, I was so uncomfortable driving because the mental stress I have to go through just to do like an hour drive, it because a lot of things, a lot of signs to take in,
Lots
right?
of
You're looking at Google Map. It's easy to use Google Map in Abuja, or Lagos, but here, you're missing it. I just hated driving here.
And you can't do U-turn on the road if you miss the road.
Yes, you can do U-turn, but the thing is that you don't know where to do the U-turn. So sometimes if you get to the traffic light, you can do a U-turn on the traffic light, but I just wasn't very sure, right?
Yeah.
So to do a U-turn, for instance, I would need to drive into a street, like a 5-10 minutes drive out of the highway, then do a U-turn safely, and make sure. Even I can even tell you a story. I think one time, here in Canada, if you want to make a left turn, it normally shows a green light or a green light or a green light that has an arrow. So if the green light shows with an arrow, it means that it's your right of way. But if it's green, you need to yield for oncoming vehicles, but you can still be in the middle of the road. Yeah, I think that happened to me in our first apartment, and it was just green. I just didn't move, man, because I was confused. I had like 10 cars behind me.
The guys behind you
were honking. I had to call my friend, Carlo, this is my situation right now. He said, no, if it's green, I can move. Because I was waiting for the green arrow. So, I just didn't want to, because I knew about the ticket and all that. I just didn't want to get myself into trouble and start getting... and tickets here are very, very expensive, right? So that was my first reality check. Then another reality check, like everybody must have gone through, is jobs, right? Ooh. Especially if people that I've seen that have managed to land very good jobs here, people who have worked in multinational companies back home, the top multinational companies, like our Nigerian banks are not multinational in a way, but multinational companies like, let's say Shell, Chevron, the other companies, right? The PwCs, Baker Hughes, those kind of companies, General Electric, you work in those kind of companies, Schneider Electric as well. You work in those kind of companies in Nigeria, you come here, it's very easy for you to get a top senior level or intermediate level job. But if you don't have Canadian education, you don't have Canadian experience, it's difficult. It's quite tough. It's quite tough. I know people who have not even, after 2-3 years here, they've not managed to break into the kind of job that they were doing back home. Either they're stuck with the odd jobs or the survival jobs, like you call them, or they're still trying. But it's quite amazing that you come here, you pick up a diploma to do, and within 3 months of starting that diploma, a company hires you while you're still in school. Company hires you. So it's you just need to have a strategy on how to navigate the job market here, because it can be really tough. It can really, really be tough. So you have to have a strategy on how to navigate the job market here.
What about the weather?
The weather, for me, I kind of prepared for it. So when we came in, all the winter gears that we're wearing, everything was minus 40 and below rated, right? And by the time I started working, I really had a can. We came at the peak of summer, so it was quite warm. And we were staying in a condo with heated garage and all that. Yeah. So for me, I kind of prepared for it, But I think my wife then, because her job was close to us, so she was going with the bus to work. And she was walking the kids to school, at the dead of winter, minus 30, because I have to be at work at 7. So minus 30, minus 33, she would need to walk the kids to school, right? So, but if there's a huge snow dump, I'll just tell my boss that I'm going to be a couple of minutes late so that I drop the kids. Yeah, but we kind of prepared for it, and the condo also helped, But once you move into your house here and you start
controlling your bills and everything,
and you start controlling
and start regulating your
bills, and you need to clear off snow from the walkways and all that, then it kind of hits. But after you never get used to the winter here, as far as I'm concerned, right? You never ever get used to it. You think you're used to it, you never get used to it. But for me, I was expecting it, but in terms of reality check, it's something that I've always known that I'm coming from a place where we have extreme heat in West Africa. I just
Well, to us then, it wasn't really extreme heat. It was heat.
It was
but,
just
but because
as
you've
it
been here
is,
now, you
yeah.
realize there's extreme heat. right?
Yeah.
So, lastly, a little bit about the reality check in terms of lifestyle. We're Nigerians. We say from Thursday, now you know how weekend will be, right? How did that change when you get here? Like the mood, the weekend events and stuff like that, vis-a-vis what we were already used to back home.
Yeah, so for me, back home, weekends, you have a couple of functions lined up, or you already know how it's going to go. It wasn't like, we do hard work back home, but weekends will just come and go. Monday starts, you're just good to go. But here, you're working for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, you're really putting in
Or you're doing night
the
shifts.
work, or you're doing night shift, you're really putting in the work here. It's quite a disciplined society, so you're really putting in the work. So weekends is just rest,
Laundry.
just rest, do your
Groceries.
laundry, do your grocery, and just try to have your mindset back to what it was the previous Monday, because Monday,
Reality.
Starts again.
it starts again, so it's kind of different, because here, no matter how close you are with your friends, you don't just up and
Jump to their house.
visit people, right? So you just stay in the house. If you want to buy booze, just stay in the house, bond with your kids, bond with your wife. But it's quite different, especially for a newcomer.
Yeah.
But by the time you're here for a couple of years, you make lots of friends. You have your community, right? And by the time you have your community, like for us, we have our friends. We come together, we play football, right? Some people come together, they go to the gym. Some people come together, they do different things. So it's quite important for you to find communities, to be part of. They have a couple of hiking communities. So if you're a fan of hiking or going to the mountains at the peak of winter, then just have a community, and that is how you can kind of replicate that kind of lifestyle that we have back home. So my own recommendation is have communities, that also engage in the things that you love, and with that, your weekends can be eventful and quite memorable for you.
Yeah, mine was basically a thing about football, sports, right? So we're used to watching Champions League, Premier League, and then the
It's
timing,
not here. It's not
the timing
here.
was
Yeah.
perfect for us. But here, by the time you're waking up
5
by 8,
a.m. you're up. Yeah.
they finished the first set of
Yeah.
games. Then Champions League here, it's played around 1 p.m.
You have to work. You're at work. Yeah.
Before you know it, you hear it's at the end of the day that you probably then hear the news. For maybe people in Nigeria are waking up and posting on status and like, it's already happened, and you're behind, and somehow you start losing track of things that
And interest.
Yeah, and interest.
Interest.
So, and if you turn on TVs here, the adverts are about hockey. Amazon Prime here shows Monday night hockey and stuff like that. When we're used to Tuesday and Wednesday nights, Champions League, Saturday and Sunday football, or Monday night football, and stuff like that. So to me, that was like something I'm still trying to get used to it. You can't really say So we say it takes about 5 to 10 years to get used to Canada, right? So I'm still trying to get used to it and some other things in terms of vibe check, right? So you go around, but when you go out to a mall, right, just see a Nigerian, and then we do the African nod, like just do it and
just go your way.
You give him one and he gives you two. And funny enough, the person might not be Nigerian. The person might just be a black guy from Jamaica or something, but it's something among blacks. I saw you, you saw me. I give you one, you give me two. I'll keep it moving. And I think it's more with the guys. Ladies don't really do that.
They don't care.
I don't know. But let me take us back a little bit, talking about how weekends and all that. I think back home, the city where you are plans your weekend for you. Is either there's a wedding you already know about, or there's a hang, like it's already planned. You just key in.
Or guy at your estate.
You understand? But here, you must plan your weekend.
You must plan your weekend.
If not, Saturday will come, Sunday will come,
and Monday you're back to the same grind.
So you have to plan that this Saturday I'm going to do grocery by 10, do laundry, play football, check out things I need for the new week. You must plan it. But back home, how this Saturday go be?
Anything goes.
You might just check your phone. Guy, we're on a day. You understand? That's what I mean by society plans the weekend for you. But here, even if you see somebody having an event, you are not invited, you're not going. Yeah. You can't just call the person, hey, I want, you know.
You don't want to drive 60 minutes to an event you're not invited for.
You understand? So you have to, be strategic about your weekend. You plan. Like for me back home, I think I don't play football, but here
Zapata.
In fact, I look forward to weekends because you bond among your fellow Nigerians. You talk about the country you are in. You share ideas. You meet new people, and So here you must plan your weekend. If not, it will come and it will go, and the cycle continues.
The cycle continues. Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, thank you for watching up to this point, and we'll bring you more content on the podcast as time goes on. So we appreciate our guests for today, Ifeanyi and Ikechukwu. So until next time, this is Lifestyle in Calgary, the podcast. Thank you and stay blessed.